How to stop wasting time on Pinterest and start seeing results. This is exactly what we'll be talking about today. And so if you're just joining me right now, just say hi so I can give you guys a shout out and welcome you as part of our community today and the subject that we'll be talking about. I see so many people wasting time on Pinterest, going down the rabbit hole, because it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole on Pinterest. I know when I started, quite frankly, I went down the Pinterest rabbit hole quite a lot, to be honest with you. I just had no idea what I was doing, and I was just reading blog posts and trying to figure out how to make it all work. And I was just, quite frankly, wasting a lot of time trying different tactics. But what I was realizing is that it was not really moving the needle for me. It wasn't really driving the traffic or the impact that I was looking for. So, hey, Benaz, just joined. Hi. So, guys, just say, introduce yourself when you're here so I can give you guys a shout out and say hi. So, you're saying you've got no sound? Oh, let me just check here. Yeah, it looks like it's working all fine on my hand, so hopefully everything is good. And I've got this weird thing now. Oh. Okay, guys. Okay, sorry. Benas, you got some? Okay, perfect. So yeah, I've got some on my end. All right, guys. So if you don't know me, my name is Isabelle Paquin. I'm a Pinterest and marketing strategist, and I help coaches, service providers, and course creators grow their business, their visibility, and their list using Pinterest. Now, I am also the host of a free Facebook group called Rise Up Entrepreneur. So we'd love to welcome you as part of it. So the name is Rise Up Entrepreneurs. You can just Google it or search for it on Facebook, or I'll put the link as well just after this video so you can request to join it. So yeah, Jessica is saying she's got sound. So beautiful. Perfect. So let's just go back right into it. And I want to use an analogy to explain to you and kind of really bring it home how sometimes we can be focusing on the wrong things. And it's not your fault. I mean, you know, we're all learning here, but it's really based on advice that you're receiving or things that you're reading on blog posts that they're meant well, but they're really not moving the needle. And so I want to use this analogy of my story about learning to bake bread. So I have a passion for bread. I think cheese is just a joy in my life, and bread is his best friend. So I just absolutely love bread. And I decided that I would learn how to bake bread because I love it so much. And so I got, I bought a book about baking bread. I got some kitchen gadgets and what have you. And the first bread that I made, I don't know if you guys have ever made bread, let me know. The first bread that I made was just horrible. It was so hard. It was just like, there's no way I could eat it. It's just horrible, right? And so I thought, well, maybe I did it wrong. So I got more, I got this baking dish thing. And I got better flour, and I also got better gadgets for kneading, you gotta knead the dough. So I got better things like that. And I got another book as well. And so I did that and did those things, and I tried over and over again, and my bread was still not, it was getting better, but just marginally. It was not really good. So I gave up after a while. I'm like, you know what? I'm not good at this thing. There's something out there that people are doing better than I. And I don't know what's the secret. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but my bread was not just good. So I just gave up on it until I met a friend. And then she was talking to me about, she's got this recipe. And basically she just puts flour, a few ingredients together in a bowl, mix it, let it be, and then put that bad boy in the oven, and then the bread is just absolutely delicious. There's no kneading involved. There's no complex thing. You don't need to do anything with it. You just mix it together with a fork, and you just let it be. And so when I think about Pinterest, I think often we approach it in a way like I was with bread. I thought I needed all those things, all those complicated little things, those special flowers, those special kitchen gadget, those special, whatever, like baking bread machine or whatever. All I needed was not any of that complicated small little things. All I needed was the right recipe. And I think that with Pinterest is the same. I needed to simplify the process and just focus on what really, really works. And so if you guys want the recipe for that bread, if you love making bread, let me know. I can share the recipe with you. It is the easiest thing ever, and it just makes the house smells heavenly and is so easy to make. So coming back to our Pinterest, so focusing on all those small little things, like I was saying, like with my story with the bread, will not move the needle. It's really focusing on a system that will allow you to have all of those big pieces in place that is simple, because as business owners, we don't have time to do all this stuff, right? We got to work on things that are simple and that drive results for us, that moves the needle. So I want to talk to you about 4 big things that will drive the needle for you on Pinterest. And I will not be talking today about those small little things that people out there are telling you to do, such as, should you be pinning 10 or 15 times a day? It's not going to change anything, 10 or 15, right? This is not big item idea. Pinning manually. These are not things that will move the needle for you. The 4 big things that will move the needle for you on Pinterest and really drive traffic and attract quality leads for your business. The first thing you need to do is to master keywords. And mastering, it's not rocket science. So I don't want you to, to feel like overwhelmed by the word master, but it's really having a keyword strategy. Pinterest is a search engine. If you've been in my audience for a little while, I keep telling you guys, Pinterest is not a social media, even though we often think of it as a social media. It really is a search engine. Very similar to Google, very similar to YouTube. People use it to search. About 90% of my traffic comes from search on Pinterest. And it's not a small search engine either. There are 2 billion with a B, not million, billion searches every single month on Pinterest. And if that number seems too big, or just kind of, it's hard to picture, right? How much is that? 2 billion. Well, it comes down to 45,000 searches every single minute. So Pinterest is a search engine. So understanding your keywords, what keywords will you be targeting to rank in, is a big priority. These are the kind of things that will move the needle for you and will drive traffic for you, and attracting the right traffic, right? Because we don't want to just attract traffic for the sake of attracting traffic. We want to attract the right customer to our business, people that will eventually become customers. So the main thing you need to focus on to begin with, it's keywords. You need to have a very strong keyword strategy. Your second step is, or your second element of focus, the thing that will really move the needle the most, is a content strategy. It is not enough to just have products or services. You need to be communicating those services or those products or those coaching packages to your customers. And the way to do that is through content strategy. Now, you can do either content strategy or advertising. So either you spend your time on creating content or you spend your dollars on advertising. Now, for most of you guys, you prefer focusing on content. And so content can be just like what I'm doing right now, a Facebook Live, that's a content. It can be a blog post. It can be a podcast. We need to be talking to our customers and sharing value with them so that they understand what we can do for them before they will become a buyer. So we need to have a content strategy that attracts the right people. So like I said, we don't want to attract anybody. We really want to attract the right people for our business. And we need to create content that will stir desire, right? That will make our potential customers just want to work with us and learn more from us, want to take it to the next level, right? So so just to recap, so we need keywords and we need to have a strong content strategy. A lot of people I see are like, well, I don't want to create content, Isabelle. If that's your case, you got to pay advertising dollars. I hate to say that. I hate to break it to you guys, but if you're not willing to be creating content, you need to pay for advertising. It's one or the other. The best strategy is to use both. But really, when we're wanting to promote our business and get out there, it's really about creating content is a very, very strong strategy that will help attract people that are right for your business. Now, the third pillar of success on Pinterest, like a third thing to focus on to really move the needle, is working on your Pinterest graphics, on your visuals. Now, it's one thing to get in the search engine. It's one thing to create content. But the next step is you need to have people to actually click on your pins, right? You need to make sure that they're actually curious and wanting to click through to your site. And that starts with the actual graphic. So your Pinterest templates or your pins are super important. They need to just be so gorgeous, as well as inciting curiosity. And I see you guys are having questions there, so just keep them popping. I will be, at the end of this, I will be answering your Q&As. So just keep asking your questions, and I will be answering them at the end, okay? So just keep bringing them on. So visuals is so important. Now, a lot of people often tends to be overwhelmed with that and thinking, oh, that's going to take me a lot of time to do. There's two things, right? You can always outsource to a graphic designer that specializes in Pinterest. The graphic designer needs to understand how to create a pin that will work on Pinterest. Or you can use templates, and that will save you lots and lots and lots of time when you're creating your pins for Pinterest, okay? And the fourth element of pillar, a thing that you need to focus on for Pinterest that will really move the needle, is automation. Now, I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are manually pinning on Pinterest. You will take your pins and you will go on the app on Pinterest and you will go every day manually pin. Now, it's a lot of time required to do that. Time that, if I go on Pinterest and 4 or 5 times a day, and I go and I start sharing my pins, and I start sharing and looking for other people's pins, guess what happens, right? 20 minutes has just gone by. So if I do that 5 times a day, I just wasted an hour on Pinterest. And that is not a good way. I'd rather spend that hour serving my clients, creating content, updating my courses, delivering value, focusing more on revenue generating activities and having an impact for my audience than focusing on pinning on Pinterest. Now, there's a way to save all of this time is through automation. So it's through using a tool, a scheduling tool. The one that I recommend is Tailwind. And it is such a huge time saver, and it will automatically pin for you in the background. It's beauty to use. It takes a little, at the beginning, you need to kind of understand how the tool works, but once you got the hang of it, then it's just an awesome, awesome tool. And unlike other platforms, like Facebook or Instagram, they kind of penalize the use of automation tool. It is not the fact on Pinterest. Pinterest actually works very, very closely with Tailwind. Tailwind is an approved partner of Pinterest. And Pinterest engineers and several staff of Pinterest have confirmed that it's absolutely fine to use an automation tool. They do not make any difference between manual pinning and using an automation tool. So it's a huge time saver, and I highly, highly recommend you use an automation tool. Because that's a huge time suck, right? I see way too many people pinning manually on Pinterest. It's just, when you go on Pinterest, right? You get down the rabbit hole. You start seeing like, oh, this is such a beautiful, pretty picture. And you just start going, starting to search for high heels or recipes for tonight. And meanwhile, you haven't been focusing on growing your business in the meantime. So that's why I highly recommend using an automation tool. So let me know, guys, what are you right now? How much time are you spending on Pinterest on a daily basis? Or on a weekly basis? Let me know in the comment. Are you feeling like you're spending too much time on Pinterest? And can you start applying those guidelines, those 4 pillars, really putting aside all of those very small little things, like moving pins around in the board or deleting pins. Please do not do that. If you're doing that, it's such a waste of time. And so let me know in the comments. Are you doing that? Are you spending a lot of time on Pinterest instead of focusing on those big things that would move the needle for you? All right. So just to recap the 4 pillars. So the first one is keywording. You need to focus on the search engine. Pinterest is a search engine, so you need to have a strong keyword strategy. The second element is you need to have a strong content strategy that will allow you to attract the right people to your business and that will allow to stir desires for your products and services. The third point is to have strong visuals, so pins that just incite curiosity and just leads pinners to want to click through to your site. And the fourth one is automation, because nobody's got time to be pinning daily on Pinterest. You need to be active on a daily basis on Pinterest. And the only way to do that in a way that's time saving and just is the best way for you to use your own time is through using an approved scheduler. All right, so let me just go and take your questions. I saw that there was a few of them. So Danny's saying, I'm having trouble with content. So tell me a little bit more about that. Is it finding content ideas? Is it, what exactly is it with your content that you're having trouble so I can help you? So Benaz is saying, what I do is, what I normally do is that I have some extra keywords after my description. Is it a good idea? So you need to integrate your keywords as part of your description. It needs to naturally flow. Pinterest descriptions are for the search engine, but they're also for people. So people need to be able to read through them. It needs to flow naturally. So also Pinterest they've started giving some indication that they'll start penalizing when you're keyword stuffing. So keyword stuffing means just having like a whole bunch of series, like a really long series of just keywords, right? So for me, for Pinterest, it would be Pinterest marketings, Pinterest tips, how to use Pinterest, Pinterest marketing strategy, Pinterest marketing strategies. If I were to put all of these keywords one after the other in a pin description, that would be called keyword stuffing, and that's a big no-no. So you just got to be careful with that. Benny's saying, I can't afford Tailwind right now. So what do I do? So Tailwind is $10 a month. So if you're spending time manually pinning, what could you be spending your time on instead? That would be revenue generating. It's $10 a month, right? So if you're spending 1 hour a day, and now with Tailwind, you're saving 7 hours a week, because you have to pin even on the weekends, especially on the weekends. And now you're saving 7 hours a week. Do that times 1 month. Can you afford not to pay $10? Right? I think your time, your personal time is worth way much more. Like if we do like 7 hours times 4 weeks, that's 28 hours. So you would regain 28 hours of your time, and that would only cost you $10. What could you do instead with that 28 hours, right? You could be creating more products. You could be creating content. You could be doing Facebook Lives like I'm doing to attract your audience. You could be going on podcasts. There's so much more you could do only for $10. So I know that often as business owners, we're trying to protect our cost and we want to make sure we're not spending too much. But what I would really love for you guys to do is think about what's the opportunity cost, right? So if you're using your time in exchange, that means you cannot use that time for working on revenue generating activities, right? So $10 a month, I think to me it's really, really cheap, considering what type of impact that could have for your business. So Benaz is saying, yeah, dear Tailwind, Tailwind is my friend. Yeah, I know. Benaz and I have been going back and forth with Tailwind. It is a bit of a learning curve at the beginning, but once you got the hang of it, it's just beautiful, beautiful. So Benaz is saying, yeah, so now that I'm using Tailwind, I don't feel I am too long on Pinterest. Exactly. I spend maybe half an hour a week on Pinterest, maybe. And it drives about 80% of my traffic. So, for me, that's a good investment of my time. Danny's saying I'm researching too much. Yeah, you know what? When you're, and I hear you, Danny, sorry. I often feel like that where I'm spending way too much time researching, and I get into, I can be quite the perfectionist, and so I want to make sure that everything is right. But while I'm researching, I'm not taking action. And so I've really been working a lot towards applying progression over perfection and just going for it. Also, what really helps save time is having a system, like a proven system. So if you're just trying to piece little things here and there from different people through different blog posts, it's really hard to putting it together, right? It's like if I take a puzzle and put it in front of you and it's just one puzzle, even if it's like 1,000 pieces, eventually you'll be able to do it. But if I take that puzzle and I had another 1,000 puzzle pieces in it and I just mix them all, and then I take another puzzle and I just mix all the pieces, and now you've got like 3 or 4 puzzles all mixed together, you will have a very hard time making that puzzle come together because you've got so many pieces from all over the place. So it's the same with your marketing strategy. It really helps to have a proven system and really kind of focusing on one system and just, instead of researching and guessing, just working on implementation. So Kim is saying, I feel everything costs money to get anywhere, and I don't want to go broke trying to get ahead. So yeah, so it's kind of similar to what I think it was Danny was saying, or Benaz. No, it was Danny, sorry. It's the same conversation that I was saying in terms of the opportunity cost, right? So if you're saving $10 a month for the equivalent of 28 hours of time, like that's not paying you a really high level of salary, right, per the hour. So I'd rather spend $10, just have it automated, and then use the rest of my time for revenue generating activities. And so for you, as a horse therapist, you could be focusing on welcoming new clients, maybe going in your community, giving workshops or doing Facebook Lives like this and talking about your products, or maybe talking about like doing case studies with your clients. There's so much you could do and use that time better than on pinning manually on Pinterest. So whenever you want to save money, and I'm not, okay, so I want to make sure, guys, I'm not the kind of person, though, that's just going to drop money just for the sake of dropping money. That's not my style either. I always look into, is it worth it for me? But I don't just look at the cost. I looked also at what is the cost of me not doing that, of me not paying that. And often it requires a lot of my time. And then I think, okay, is it worth it? Is it really worth it, me spending 28 hours a month to save $10? And then for me, the answer was like, no. And with that 28 hours, I can do so much more. I can generate that $10 like this, right? So, Mara is saying, I use Tailwind, but still pin manually from group boards every other day and pins from the emails from Pinterest send me. Yeah, Pinterest send you some emails. Yeah, so Pinterest will recommend. Let's say you went on Pinterest and you did a search and on, I don't know, how to use Pinterest for business. And then a day or two later, they'll send you an email. Hey, by the way, we found those ideas. Would you like to try them? So it's a good idea to go in and kind of look at them. And if it's something you feel your audience would benefit from, if pinning that pin would allow you to attract more of your right customers for you, then go for it, right? There's no art in that. I don't do it a lot because I'd rather use pins from other people that I find in Tailwind tribes because I find it's faster and easier for me. But there's no art, right? You can always do it, but then it becomes your choice. It's not required. If you're using Tailwind, you don't have to. So how to present my product that would be attractive enough to make someone stop and want to look. So Danny, so you sell flowers and made flowers, right? So, and made paper flowers, and they're just gorgeous in their own, but you need to display them in an environment that would make people want to bring that in their home, right? So like a lifestyle shot. So maybe display your flowers in a living room, and that's just, brightens the entire living room and just makes it so much more beautiful. But really through creating content as well, giving ideas, giving inspiration for people on how to use your flowers to decorate their house. Where can they put them? How can they, like people, especially in the decorating field, needs ideas and inspiration. Like people like me, that I'm not good at decorating at all. I'm gonna admit I'm not good at all at that. But so I need ideas, and so you can come in and create content about that and give people ideas. So Kim is saying, does Tailwind work with more than Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram? Yeah, so Tailwind works with Instagram, and that's pretty much it. That's what I would use it for. So they work for Instagram, but they're really strong for Pinterest. But if you're using Facebook as a publishing tool that's native to Facebook. If you have a business page, you go on your page, and at the top there's going to be a menu, and then it says publishing tool. You can schedule your Facebook posts ahead of time. There is no need to pay for a scheduler on Pinterest. On Facebook, sorry. I don't use any scheduler for Facebook. I just use Facebook's scheduler because it's free and it's there. So that's one way where I'm like, okay, Facebook is offering me something free. Of course I'm going to use it. Pinterest does not have that option. So Danny's saying, I'm trying to see how other paper florists are doing it, and then I start getting upset that my pictures suck and not good enough and feel inadequate. That's true for most people, right? If we fall victim to this comparison, we look at other people, we think they're so much more better, right? It's like that saying that the grass is always greener at the neighbor and the neighbor's grass. But the reality is just go for it. You be yourself. You're different from other people, right? And that's your unique way of approaching things. And then just improve. Like if you look at my pins, but please don't, but if you look at my pins from the beginning, they were ugly. They really were ugly. But I just went for it, and I still drove traffic, and I still started growing my audience. So just go for it. Don't be so hard on you. But as I say, Danny, we read the books which were introduced before. It's a trap of your mind. Absolutely. Yeah, I talked about some books in my FabPin Formula student group. Share some books about mindset and how we can help. Kim is saying, that's like me. I will spend the money, but I need to make sure it's worth it. Yeah, for sure. Always make sure it's worth it. With Tailwind, there is a free trial. You can schedule, I think it's 100 pins. And after that, it's like $10 a month. You can always cancel. So, $10 is not a big risk, but it's, of course, your decision. You need to try it for yourself, right? It's what a lot of things are like that. But as I was saying, Danny, your art is gorgeous, awesome. Don't believe in anything less than that. Absolutely. All right, ladies. So I hope that you found this session useful today. I think that there is so much to begin and to be said about focusing on the right thing on Pinterest and really letting go of that mindset aspect of fear of missing out, of worrying that maybe if you would pin 15 times versus 12 times a day, maybe that would be better. If you were to pin, which type of pins of other people, should you pin it from Pinterest email or should you pin it from your Tailwind tribes? These are things that are minor. They will really not help you move the needle that much. The big 4 things that will move the needle, like I said, are keyword, content strategy, your visuals, and automation. And that's really what's going to help you move the needle the most for your business on Pinterest. All right, ladies. So we've been going for almost half an hour. I hope this was helpful. If it was, give me the thumbs up. So I know to come back and keep sharing some golden nuggets with you guys. And have a beautiful day. All right. Talk to you later.